Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Full Circle Network. I'm editor-in-chief of FullCircleCinema.com, Jackson Hayes, and we're here to talk about episode 5 of Swamp Thing titled Drive All Night. And today I'm joined by my managing editor, Marcos Melendez.
Hey, what's up, guys? Glad to be here this week and talk about Swamp Thing, episode 5. Another good episode.
Another solid entry in this unfortunately canceled show, but let's start with some news, because it seemingly every week something else comes out about this property that just causes uproar. This week was something I think a lot of people were upset with, generally just because of the direction that they may take the character, and that is the fact that originally it was reported by We Got This Covered, who's not very reliable in terms of their information from time to time, but then Bloody Disgusting backed that up, and then some of the people we know actually backed it up as well, is the fact that WB has had internal conversations about doing a Swamp Thing movie because of the reception to the show so far, with a new cast is what has been reported, so they wouldn't bring back the cast you see in the show. It would be completely different, and it'd be on the big screen. Marcos, let's start there. What were your thoughts when you saw this information being spread around?
And to add to that, I believe, I don't know if it's Bloody Disgusting that mentioned this, but I believe it would have like James Wan on board as well.
Yeah, I think that was them, that he would be attached in some way.
Yeah, probably in the same capacity, like a producer or whatever. Okay, so initial thoughts is that it's a terrible idea. They have the show already, and it's already great. It's already the best adaptation you need, and that's all my thoughts. And to do it with a new cast is ridiculous and a waste of time.
I mean, I understand completely. Like, these aren't movie actors. Will Patton in particular.
That's true. Will Patton is a movie actor, but
Okay, he's not a movie actor in terms of this character. Okay, we'll get into that later. He was unbearable this week again for the 5th week in a row. But
it's bad when like the Sharknado guy is like it's
he was
way
the
better.
standout. He was the standout
like
of the
standout.
episode. Yeah, he was the highlight of the episode. But so yeah, a movie. But here's where the tone deafness comes in. Because of the reception to the show, they've had conversations about doing a movie. Just do the show. Just find another way to do the show. Fund the show. You don't have to do a big budget movie when the show already exists. These people are here.
I assume that logic comes through, like, okay, maybe through the box office they'll be able to get more money, more profit by just doing a movie.
I guarantee if they waited it out and they re-upped the show going into the Warner Media streaming service in like 2020, nobody would be upset about it. Even if there was a slight hiatus and they just brought it back, in 2 years after Stargirl and the next season of Titans and Young Justice has all come out, they just re-up the show later on. But they've just axed it, and now they're talking about just doing a movie because everyone's so in love with the show. Where's the correlation there? We like the show. I don't want a movie. I want you to do the show.
And I think, as you said before, this discussion is just talks. There's no
right. There's no writer
attached.
as far as we know. There's no director attached. Nothing like that. But even that these conversations have happened. That even if if this report is accurate and people we know say it's accurate, that people have had this conversation. That Warner execs have sat down and said maybe we should do a movie version. I just don't get it. I do not understand.
I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. Maybe next week there'll be another little bit of news that we have to discuss on air.
I hope not. I'd rather just be able to talk about the show and what we get every week, because it's pretty good and people should care about that rather than the crap that's being thrown around in the media. But that's fine.
So I'm gonna ask you a very important question, Jackson.
All right.
What kind of soup do you like?
Listen, I've always been down with like a good bisque. I'm not really a fan of like chicken noodle or your regular run of the mill soups. One thing I definitely do not like and have no part of ever again is whatever Will Patton was saying in that scene in the bar.
Soup?
What was that? You want to say that again?
Turtle soup.
What?
Turtle soup.
Yeah, I don't understand what you're saying. Listen, this man. Let's just start there because it was such the outlier of the episode. It was the biggest standout moment. It was the weirdest thing. It was completely out of order, but this man was butchering a turtle to threaten Liz's dad about Liz poking around with the loan shark guy and all that stuff and blah blah blah. He's on vacation. He slaughtered a turtle, put it in the soup, and then just left it there. Like, what kind of threat is that? What was that scene? What was that whole scene?
I don't understand. You know what's the weirdest part to me, other than the turtle soup, is the fact that he just in there, like, cooking. Like, it's not his place.
Yeah. No, he said he owns the property, I guess, but doesn't his wife own the property? What do you mean he owns the property? He's poor. He doesn't have any money. They told us this. He comes from nothing.
He comes from he bought a child because he's poor.
We learned his origins last week, where his dad was just one of these random, swamp living people.
And he just happened. He seemed better than Avery.
He just happened to like fall into Maria's lap, and he apparently, they revealed in this episode, he has a past with the sheriff during their rendezvous in the motel. That apparently they were supposed to become a thing back in the day, but he ended up with Maria because of all of her money. I don't know how that makes her feel. I mean, it's kind of degrading, but that is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know how do you still go with him. I don't understand that.
Yeah, that was a whole other thing. He was all over this episode from start to finish, and it was just a whole flipping thing.
So yeah, I guess the main part of the episode is going to be Maria, which is
Maria and what is her name? What's the daughter's name?
I forgot the daughter's name.
I just said it 5 minutes ago.
As we talk about it, I'll look it up.
Yeah, so Susie's living with Maria, as they revealed the last episode or 2 episodes ago, right at the end. When it was last week. I don't remember. When Avery buys Susie from the uncle, she's now living with Maria, and that plot line gets a little muddled here in this episode. I forgot to. We're talking spoilers. I know it says it in the title. We're talking spoilers. So if you haven't seen the episode, don't.
Honestly, and this goes up the same day it comes up. So
right, yeah. If you haven't seen it, don't watch it. And the turtle soup isn't a spoiler, but we're gonna get into some more spoilers here. Did you get the name?
Yes, Shawna.
Shawna, that's right.
Yeah,
so Shawna had returned. We got that. What was at the end of episode 2 that they revealed that Shawna was kicking around after the interaction with Madame Xanadu. And in this episode, it comes to light that she's overtaken Susie, and then Abby gets mixed into that, and it brings back stuff in the past. What I want to ask you, Marcos, is what I'm confused about. The storyline is Maria kind of picks up Susie on a whim, like they kind of take her in randomly, just because there's this girl who is kind of estranged. Her father died and doesn't have anywhere to go. My problem with that is the fact that Maria had already had interactions with Shawna, the ghost Shawna, multiple times.
Yeah.
And then once Susie's brought in, Shauna's obviously upset about it because she's an evil ghost and bringing in another child. So, in your interpretation, because I have mine, in your interpretation of the episodes, is it that Maria brought Susie in to be Shauna's vessel, or was it a coincidence and then Maria just went along with it?
I think it was a coincidence. I think that the initial adoption / illegal buying of Susie was just Maria trying to replace her, so maybe subconsciously just wanted a new daughter. I think that was real. That part is real, I guess. And then the ghost daughter kind of just got jealous, and that's why she possessed her. And Maria is very weak. So
right,
she goes,
but let me ask you. But why, if the ghost daughter's around, why is she replacing her? They've had interactions already.
Look. That was just convenient.
It's a big word. It's a big word.
It didn't make it.
Because we'd had issues with this plot line already. It was kind of all over the place in terms of what's Maria's deal, what's going on here, and then they're kind of figuring it out as they go along, and then this just kind of threw a wrench in the whole thing.
Yeah, was just kind of let's just do this to kind of figure it out this episode.
So what kind of connects to that is Swamp Thing. Alec Holland is in the forest or in the swamp, and the swamp starts talking to him and trying to connect with him. And eventually it does in the form of the Phantom Stranger, who was revealed to be in this episode this past week. I think Thomas at Geeks Worldwide had that first, that he was going to be in the episode. And I suppose he's a ghost of the swamp, is what they're interpreting the character as in this show. And he's like a way that the swamp interacts with him. And basically he tells Swamp Thing that the swamp, it has centuries of memories and can teach him things about what's to come and the evil that's to come. And that's how he ends up learning about Shauna's death and how Abby connects to it and how Shauna's come back from the dead, which were some pretty good moments. What did you think about those scenes?
Yeah, everything with Swamp Thing is going to be phenomenal in my opinion. We're 1, Derek Mears, 2, the suit looks insanely good. The Phantom Stranger, he kind of just pops in to say, there's a bucket of exposition.
Yeah, he's just really completely exposition. I mean, it was interesting. The way he was introduced, he kind of showed up on a boat, and he started talking to him all cool. ambiguously, and it was just, I was down with it. I don't know much about the character at all, but it was a deep cut character, which is interesting.
Yeah, and I believe I don't know if it's announced, but I believe he does return in a few more episodes. I don't know if it was cut, but yeah, he's supposed to return, so maybe we'll learn more about him because we don't get much of him. Literally just to explain something for Swampy.
Yeah, it was very quick, and that's what it was. But it's a nice Easter egg, which was fun to see. But yeah, all the Derek Mears stuff again was fantastic. The best part of the episode again. It moved pretty quickly. He was really tied into the plot directly with Abby, which was helpful in a way because it made it less jumbled like a couple episodes ago when it was kind of all over the place. But then the Avery stuff kind of just thrown around that was just kind of random and all over the place. Here's another question I have, just so we're full blown spoilers.
Yeah.
Where was Avery during the time that Maria was jumping into the river? Because his rendezvous with the sheriff had already ended. Had he not gone back home? He said he was going to be home that day.
Maybe he went back for seconds. You never know.
No, thank you.
You never know. I'm not. Maybe he was at the video store getting a couple like DVDs.
I mean, we heard business wasn't very good at the video store.
Actually, we know what happened. He went back and he had some turtle soup. That's literally it.
Is that what he was doing? He was just shaking people down the entire time, like while this whole thing with Maria was going on at his house.
Maybe he was just having a bunch of flashbacks.
And then we get Jason Woodrue for a couple scenes.
He's great.
He has the character's great and the acting's great. Is he's trying to understand what Abby's going on with about Swamp Thing, and he finds a sample. He goes back to the Alec Collins lab, and he finds a sample, and he reveals that he realizes that it is an animal. That this thing is an animal. So that's obviously pushing that storyline apart, where he's going to come face to face with Swamp Thing.
That's
I'm still.
I believe his character, his character in the comics.
He becomes like one of the main villains, the fermented man or something like that.
Floronic man.
Floronic man. That's it.
Go.
Right,
but yeah, certainly that's kind of like the trajectory that character's going in.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm still confused as to how the dementia wife comes into this. But I'll keep waiting. It's been 2 episodes.
I forgot. I'll keep waiting. About her.
I don't forget, and I'm gonna keep waiting.
Maybe
until
I had dementia. I forgot.
See, so like
it rubbed off on me.
Keeping it moving, one other interesting thing that happens, which really opens up a much bigger plot line in this show, is the fact that Sheriff Cable starts investigating Alec Collins' death after Liz's girlfriend finds that the bullet-ridden boat scraps in the swamp, and she goes to find another one of these Louisiana drifter kind of guys, and she ends up the guy ends up telling her that her son Matt was involved with the death somehow, that he's the one that was on the boat.
That would be a cool twist. I don't know if the guy was bluffing, but I think that
it would be a weird bluff unless Avery's like feeding him information for money or something like that. I mean, he's dead now, so it really doesn't matter. But everyone's just getting killed in the show, dude. They just kill people left, right, crooked. No one investigates anything.
that is true. But at least like she has a purpose in her story, and like she's just trying to figure out who killed him.
Right, she's kind of a twisted character. Like she's a little bit good, a little bit bad. Like she just kind of wants to do what she wants to do, and it's interesting to see. I mean, Matt has been kind of underplayed a little bit. Like he's just kind of been like a jealous third wheel for Abby up to this point.
Like he pops up like every
right, just to piss Alec off as a swamp monster. But and he does it again at the end of this episode. But I hopefully that comes around to something, because I'm getting worried with these plot lines, Marcos, because we get 3 episodes were cut, and like obviously some things are going to be left on the cutting room floor, so I'm worried about some of these things.
There's got to be like a cliffhanger that's going to be disappointing. But if they I believe they rewrote like episode 10 and 3 or whatnot, so I at least they'll have something kind of finished with the story. So we'll see some conclusions. I'll assume.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. So we get a little bit more Daniel Cassidy in this episode. Really good scene where he tries to leave Marais because he believes he served his purpose in the last episode, which I thought was really interesting. When he wasn't able to leave and he ends up getting burned, and then we actually get a look at the Blue Devil outfit, which lights up, revealing that it has actual spiritual, powers, and it's not just a costume. Yeah. And then he ends up going back to talking to. Who's he? He goes back to the bar and ends up talking to Liz later on. But so what do you think? What do you think of the Blue Devil we got in this episode?
Yeah, I like him. I think he's like surprisingly good. I think he fits the role really well, and I think he's legitimately good. And I like in a way where he's just kind of having fun. I think he's legitimately playing a good role as Blue Devil, as someone like who's kind of stuck in this town who just wants to leave. As you said, I got printed all of his hand. Then he talked to Liz, and the scene afterwards kind of weird, where like I guess Avery like hired some goons and kind of like
that was something all over the place, and obviously we'll get into that next week because it's sort of a half cliffhanger, half not. But it was like that was so random, and it was in the middle of a like crowded parking lot at like the most popular bar in town.
Yeah,
they just happened to be in the back of the parking lot, and then Daniel immediately sees what's going on and runs over, and then the guy just bashes him on the back of the head for no reason. Like the confrontation was kind of over, and then he just kind of shoves him and he just bashed him on the head with a crowbar.
And I'm gonna assume he's dead, and like the Blue Devil kind of brings it back, and that's how we're gonna get the
I
transformation.
think something we learned from this is the fact that Avery hires the worst goons possible. Whoever he's hiring never gets the job done right. Because
we should do it himself. To get like a golf club and to start hitting people.
Right? What is going on with this man? He's just paying these random goons from town to kill people. Oh my god, dude, it's relentless. Avery was relentless this week. I will say, like, that was mostly the B plot, and the A plot was really good in terms of the Shawna story, which was the very horror element. It was very kind of, what the hell is that?
Really atmospheric, I guess.
I'm blanking.
You're blanking.
I'm completely blanking. I don't know why I keep thinking The Shining. It's not The Shining. It's the horror one, the possession movie, like the super famous possession movie.
Well, why are you thinking of that? I guess
she was possessed.
I guess so. Maybe you'll think about it next week in the next review.
Maybe I will. Who knows? We'll just move on.
Maybe you have dementia.
Yeah, and if I do, the plotline's going to be dropped next week, and no one will ever remember it again.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. But yeah, we get to know how Shawna died, and we get to see young Abby and how that kind of story
that was
about.
Kind of ridiculous too.
It was kind of ridiculous, but at the same time, I liked it because it kind of like revealed why Abby was so conflicted and whatnot. But it also like revealed she had nothing to do with her death because Shawna was peer pressuring her, and then Shawna got killed by something in the water.
She had absolutely nothing to do with that. She had absolutely nothing to do with her death, and obviously in her mind, it had been clouded, and she was scared at all. It all quote unquote happened so fast, even though it was like a 5 minute. It was like a 5 minute whole thing that went down pretty slowly. Like it wasn't all that fast to me. Okay, so I mean, again, that's another plot line that's just like, really, like, come on. Like, Abby's been blamed this entire time for her death when she had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely nothing to do with it. And then Maria kind of just, like, attempts murder in the middle of the, like...
She does. She attempts to murder Abby. And I was wishing Abby would just leave her to die.
I was kind of thinking that, I was actually kind of hoping that. But, of course, Swampy's got to save her. And she's also... I like how he's kind of a passive character. Although, like, he can, like, he saves people and whatnot. He kind of, like... As he does in this episode, he shows Abby like some of the visions that he has through the trees. I like how it really showcases his powers.
That was a good moment because it was a good moment because he was able to give her like clarity on the whole situation, like get rid of her guilt that she's been living with for so long. And he should probably do that to Maria.
Probably.
He should go over and tell Maria like, hey, like your girl was kind of a wild child and ended up doing it to herself, so don't blame Abby.
Yeah, and I was going to say something else about Swampy. It was a pretty good joke, but now I forgot. So, oh well.
Damn. I mean, there's not a lot to hate on this episode other than Avery. I mean, which is beating a dead horse at this point. So you
you kind of accept it. I mean, look, the moments like the turtle suit.
Yeah, the egregious moments, and the other moment that you didn't. I disliked a lot more than you was the child commercials, the African child commercials that were just like, what do you on about? But. Like some of the things he says is just like, what are you on about?
I think, you know what? I think what happened, I think that when they showed like all the footage to like the executives at Warner Brothers, they only showed Avery Sunderland. And they're like,
well, I mean, Will Patton's a big like character actor. Like he's done a lot of things.
He's actually good, so I don't understand why he's just like he's so out of place in the show.
He's so out of place, but he's playing like it's surprising me how out of place he is because he's playing such a Louisiana character, but it just no one else is like that at all, not in any way. It's weird. Yeah. I mean, it's just overall weird. But a solid episode. 8 out of 10, I'd say. 8 out of 10-ish.
Yep. Yeah, I'll give it. I'll give it around there.
Good time. Like just give it a watch. The show's ramping up. We know they name drop some comic stuff in here. We finally got the Green. The Phantom Stranger tells us about the Green, which if you'd watched 2 episodes ago, Jacob gave us a big old comic book rundown on it.
Yeah,
so
go back to there and
it looks like we're opening up the storyline here a little more, and we're getting some more information. So
we're already halfway through.
It's halfway through. We're halfway through the show. I'm a little disappointed because I was hoping 8 more I wouldn't be disappointed with, but we're only getting 5 more. So that is what it is. We can only got what we got. So
all we can do is really tweet save Swamp Thing.
Hashtag save Swamp Thing. Don't make a Swamp Thing movie.
I think this, maybe they're like, oh, save Swamp Thing, what a movie. We gotta be specific.
What if we give you a movie with no one attached other than one person that was involved with the show that everybody loves? What about that?
The thing is, I don't understand how you perfect Swamp Thing, right? You perfect him. He has the perfect people. You go, hey, In the perfect suit. Hey, let's just redo it.
Listen, do I think some better writers could be brought on, like some, slightly different actors? Sure, maybe. But, like, the core is there. The core is for a fantastic TV show is there, and they're just going to throw it all away. If they do this movie, and if they leave it canceled, they're just going to throw it all away. Either way.
Either way, it's a big F. So
F's in the chat for Swamp Thing.
Yep, but leave comments.
Yeah,
below.
Like, subscribe. What did you think? Do you dislike Avery as much as we do? Because I do.
I want to like know like how everyone else feels, because I know like a lot of people in the press area kind of feels the same, but I don't know anyone like in the public. So comment below. What do you think of them?
All right, yeah. So I think that's it. Marcus, where can they find you on Twitter?
You can find me at BizGamer9, and be sure to follow Full Circle Cine on Twitter too.
Yeah, you can follow me at JacksonHayes67. Make sure, like we said, like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you feel like it, and we'll be back next week with episode 6.
Yep. And I think Young Justice is out, but I don't think we're going to review that.
Yeah, so we're not going to review Young Justice, just because the episodes come so fast and furiously, and they're all kind of, pushed together, that we're probably going to skip that. But enjoy that.
If you follow our Twitters, we might give reactions.
I'm sure we'll tweet them out. Marcos more so than me. I'm a little backed up on the show. Marcos has watched the episodes, so I haven't watched them yet.
I've already seen next week's episode.
Yeah, I haven't watched them yet. I'll get to it. I'm invested in Swamp Thing. I have to see what Avery's going to do next.
Honestly, that's really all we need. And then, like in a month, don't forget, Pennyworth reviews are going to be out.
Pennyworth reviews will start starting next week. No, next month, mid-July. So be on the lookout for that. We also have a Spider-Man Far From Home review coming this weekend, I believe, on the channel and on the site. So be on the lookout for that too.
Yep.
Okay, we'll catch you guys next week.
See ya.